कूजन्ति राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम् वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्. Valmiki put down his pen and smiled. He had just finished writing his story about the young prince of Ayodhya, Ram, his beautiful wife, Sita, and Valmiki had written his story in the form of a long poem, and he called it Valmiki's Ramayan, meaning Valmiki's story of Ram. Mighty pleased with what he had created, Valmiki wanted to take it round the world and show it to all the gods and the goddesses. I think he wanted to show off a little bit. Don't you think, Ishwar? Yeah, and why not? After all, he had created this epic poem. He had toiled long and hard on his story, and he had every right to show it to the gods. So he decided to visit Indra. Indra took one look at Valmiki's Ramayan and he said, brilliant, Valmiki, brilliant. Then Valmiki visited Vayu, the wind god. Vayu took a look at Valmiki's Ramayan and said, yes, it is indeed brilliant. Then Valmiki went to Agni, the fire god, who was brimming fire and smoke. And he too took a look at Valmiki's Ramayan and said, I like it. Then finally Valmiki went to Varuna, the sea god. The sea god looked at Valmiki's Ramayan and he said, Bahut khoob, ati sundar, bahut khoob, brilliant, Valmiki. Mighty pleased, Valmiki decided to visit the river goddesses Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Oh, the river goddesses! They admired the meter, the melody, the punctuation, the grammar of the epic poem, and they gasped in delight. Finally, Valmiki decided to visit the ultimate critic. Today for authors it's the publisher, but for Valmiki it was Narad. Narad, as you know, was a devotee of Vishnu and resided in Vaikuntham. So Valmiki went to Vaikuntha and he saw Narad in prayers and chanting the Lord's name. Om Namo Narayanaya, 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. Welcome, Valmiki. Welcome. What brings you to the abode of Vishnu? My pranam, my humble pranams, Naradji. You see, I have written the story about the young prince of Ayodhya. I want you to take a look at my epic poem and give me your feedback. Narad took Valmiki's epic poem, went through it, and he said, nice, But what? Well, Valmiki, I've read a better Ramayan. What? Another Ramayan? You mean somebody else has written Ramayan? I thought I had written one of a kind about the deities and the demons, about the rulers and the ruled, about the land and the people. Competition. I hate that word. Even now, there are young storytellers out there. I hate the they're very well versed in the social media. And I don't know. Competition. Oh. And he said, Valmiki, tell me, who has written this better Ramayan indeed? Oh, why do you want to know? Oh, stop playing games. You know how Narad was. He liked to provoke. And then he offered the solution as well. And he said, well, if you want to know, yes, it's Hanuman. Hanuman? The monkey? Hey, Hanuman is a character in my story. You know, he helps Ram free Sita from the evil 10-headed demon Ravan, from his captivity. You know, Hanuman can build bridges. I know he can leap through the air. And what else can he do? He can lift mountains. And he can fight the war too. But Hanuman, an author, you've got to be kidding me. It's Hanuman. Well, where would I find this Hanuman? Valmiki, Narad said, Valmiki, why don't you show your story to Hanuman? And I'm sure he too will share his story with you. You will find Hanuman in the foothills of the Himalayas. Between two cold mountains is a warm valley. In that valley is an orchard, a banana orchard. And you will find Hanuman there. Valmiki took his leave and then he set on this long and arduous journey that took him 30 long days and 30 long nights to the foothills of the Himalayas. Now Valmiki was of course a great poet and how to pass his time. So he began to sing. Tandananahi, tandanana pure, tandanana bhale, tandanana bhale, tandanana bhale, tandanana. Tandananahi, tandanana pure, tandanana bhale, tandanana bhale, tandanana bhale, tandanana bhale, tandanana. Finally, Valmiki reached the foothills of the Himalayas, and then he had to cross all those craggy cliffs and those steep ravines, and finally he reached the two cold mountains and the valley in between, and he found himself in the orchard. Valmiki looked around and he saw green leaves, purple flowers, and yellow fruits. And he exclaimed, paradise, paradise for a monkey. Valmiki was very tired. It was indeed a long journey. He saw a few bananas lying there. He picked them up, peeled them, and as he was about to eat, his eye fell on a few banana leaves that were fluttering in the wind. There was something different about those leaves. Valmiki was intrigued. There appeared to be scratch marks on the smooth green surface. Valmiki went to the leaves, he gathered them, and as he brought them closer, and he saw they were not scratch marks, they were nail marks, and there appeared to be letters, words, sentences, a story. It was the story of Ramayan. Valmiki began to read. He did not miss a single line, not a single turn of phrase, not a single punctuation mark. His eyes scanned through all the 7 banana leaves on which the story was etched, and tears began to course down his cheeks. The birds and the bees and the deer in the forest, they came to Valmiki and said, "Sir, can we help? Is there a problem?" Valmiki wiped his tears and he said, "I'm fine, thank you." But he continued to cry. He continued to cry till late evening, and at dusk, Valmiki felt a presence behind him. He turned around and he saw an old monkey. And the monkey said, "Hello, sir. I am Hanuman, the servant of God. Why do you cry, sir? Can I help you?" And Valmiki said, "Oh, Hanuman, I've been reading your story, and that's what's brought tears to my eyes. Oh, I'm so sorry that my story is so bad." No. On the contrary, your story is so good that it's moved me to tears. Thank you, sir. But I'm still very unhappy and sad. Why? Asked Hanuman. He looked at Valmiki like a mother would look at her child, or even a mother would look at her little puppy. I have a granddaughter puppy. I love her. And he said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "You see, Hanuman, I too have written the story of the young prince of Ayodhya. But having read your story, I know no one will read mine. Your story is way better than mine, and that makes me sad." Hanuman looked at Valmiki with the gentlest eyes. It's indescribable. You have to feel it. And then stretched his arms and stroked Valmiki's cheeks. And then he gathered 7 banana leaves on which the story was etched. And he tore them into tiny 10,000 little pieces, bunched them up into a ball, and swallowed them whole. "Hanuman, what have you done? Why did you do this? You've destroyed your Ramayan. Why did you do?" pleaded Valmiki. Hanuman paused, smiled, and he said, "Valmiki, you wrote your Ramayan so that the world will know about you. I wrote Ramayan so that I could remember Ram." अंदर राम बाहिर राम, अंदर राम बाहिर राम, जहाँ देखे वहाँ राजा ही राम, जहाँ देखे वहाँ राजा ही राम। गुरु कृपांजन पायो मेरे भाई, राम बिना कछु देखत नाही। गुरु कृपांजन पायो मेरे भाई, पायो रे मेरे भाई। So singing, Hanuman disappeared in the evening dusk into the orchard.